Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you
Nice
for
to see
being
you.
here.
Yeah. Hi, Jesse.
Hey, Claire. How's it going?
Hello.
Oh, all right.
Oh.
Now I got muted.
Nope. Are you muted now?
Yep, I'm muted
There
now.
we go. Yeah.
One day I'm going to get that, finesse it so good, there'll be no echo at all in the beginning.
I tell myself that all the time, but I still, even at the end of my intro, sometimes like mess it up. But I guess it gets better with time. I'm looking to automate. I want to get a robot. That'll be good.
Well, that goes really well into tonight and covering Black Mirror and artificial intelligence and Big Brother and scary
Yeah,
stuff.
I've been afraid of Big Brother my whole life. I grew up with all of that sci-fi that was all like invasive in our privacy and what was going to happen and everything. And I'm actually watching it happen. It's a little
I
unnerving.
know.
You know what I mean? Like it gets a little unsettling. You're like, didn't I read that like 20 years ago? You know, not to date myself, but yeah, I'm dating myself.
Hey, again, I'm in my 40s, so there you go.
Well, there you go.
Hey,
You're
Megan.
still-
Thank you for being here. A puddle. Always createful. We appreciate you guys. Have you seen the entire history of you?
Oh,
If
did
you
you watch that? Did you watch that one always? Because I was curious to see what you had to say about it too, because I know you like some of these episodes. So.
Yeah, I you said you rewatched it a couple times, right? I've watched it once today.
Yeah. No, I watched it just the other day again, and then I had a nice long discussion today about it. Was bouncing some things off with a friend, and that's always good too, because you know they see things that you didn't see or pick up on things. So
Right.
yeah, I got a good refresher, and I read a few things online. As usual, I go look for what they're saying about it and see if I missed anything. And I went into the Reddit that you sent me, which is really cool because they have a whole room for season 1, and they were talking about it actually. So it was cool. Yeah.
I love Reddit.
Yep.
And I like that they have fellow people who like Black Mirror, try to get the word out. We might have a few of them coming from Reddit tonight. I know I had a couple people message me that were interested, so hopefully we can grow our Black Mirror cult.
One of them told me to contact the admins of the Reddit to see how to advertise if you're doing reviews of Black Mirror for the people in the Discord. And that would be cool if we could, you know, tell them that they could come if we're doing a certain episode.
Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, PR's PR. So
there you go.
You've got to find our people.
We do. And we're finding them. And a lot of our people are here. And we thank you. I thought I could go over. I'm going to try to pull up the screen. Everyone, thank you for your patience. But kind of do a little overview of the episode for anybody who hasn't watched it and just to kind of refresh, and anybody that's listening to the replay, just again, if you haven't watched it, we can just kind of fill you in. Let me see here. Let me pull this up. Yes.
See, Puddle watched the episode and Always Creative saw the episode, so that's good. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, wait. That's the whole screen, isn't it? Let me... Nope, we're both on there. I did it.
But even if we're not, you did do it. Great job. Even if we're not on there, if you do full screen, they still hear us. But, you know, it's all just what you want them to see. So.
That is true, but I'm half narcissist, so even though it's an avatar.
I know, and you're like all bug-eyed today for a narcissist.
I know.
Like? I don't like the way you're looking at me today, JC. I just got to tell you, I don't.
It's an ode to the episode, because didn't those people look really creepy whenever they would go back and look at the memories? Their eyes were like
I don't know what
eyes.
They did. When that kind of gets me when they just like that white milky stuff comes over the eye, like you're not in control, like you're zoned out. And I'm just like, no, it was like it looked like all out of focus, and you know what I mean. It looked like they had huge cataracts or something. Man,
It did. It was weird. They looked like dead in the eyes, but like zombie. I don't know. Anyway, all right. Well, according to, I don't know what. What website do I have up? Black Mirror Wiki. It's a little bit lengthy, so I might skim over some parts. But again, this is the episode called The Entire History of You. It was season 1, episode 3. However, this kind of plays into my little theory. This did not come up as episode 3 in my Black Mirror Netflix queue, if you will. It actually came up as the first episode.
So, that might have been PR to get rid of the pig, because they got so much flack about that being the first episode.
That was on there, but it just wasn't the first episode. I'm kind of curious. Anybody else that's in the chat, how, if you can even remember, what episode was presented to you as the first one of the season that you watched? Like, some of my friends and I were talking when I tried to get them interested in watching the show because I loved it and I wanted more people to talk to about it. Some of them, what was one of my friends? They kept saying, I watched the first episode, with those 2 guys in the video game. And I'm like, no, that was the first episode. And they're like, yes, it was. And then for somebody else, the pig episode was the first episode. And I was like, that wasn't my first episode. And then when I went and looked, since we have started reviewing these, I remember this specific episode being the first one that I ever watched, and I played from the beginning.
Maybe it's whatever we're using to watch it. Like if it's Hulu or Amazon Prime or Netflix or BBC, maybe, or it could just be right out from the. It's a British series, so maybe it's right out of the BBC. Maybe it's on licensing. Like maybe for some reason something got held up. So
go more conspiracy with this.
Don't let me interfere with your tinfoil hat. I'm so sorry. You go ahead.
Going over your head.
You go ahead with your tinfoil hat.
I know, right?
I'm sorry. I know.
I had it on tonight. It's all pretty and colorful, and I used my crayons and markers with it. So come on.
Far be from me to deny you to show off your hat. Go ahead. It wasn't my intent. I mean, oh my gosh. So go on. Let's tell everybody about this episode. Let's lay the groundwork on all the craziness that happened here.
So it says it is set in the near future. Most people have a grain implanted behind their ear. It looks like a little, it does. It looks like a little black grain of rice or something. And it records everything they see, do, or hear. And it allows them to play back memories. And they can either do this in front of their eyes. The memories will play in front of their eyes or on a screen, which I found interesting and creepy as well. The main character, Liam Foxwell, is a lawyer. He attends a work appraisal, which he feels does not go well. After leaving the meeting, he replays his memory of it and dwells on a seemingly insincere phrase used by his employer. He arrives at a dinner party hosted by some of his wife's friends and sees his wife, Ffion, talking to a man he doesn't recognize, whom she introduces as Jonas. Some of Fion's friends ask how the appraisal went and suggest replaying it as a redo. And that's what it's called when they replay their memory. And they would all give their opinions on it. But Jonas steps in and saves Liam from the embarrassment because, who wants to go through that? So at dinner, Jonas speaks increasingly frankly about his personal life and talks about masturbating to redos of sex from his earlier relationships. Throughout the meal, Liam becomes suspicious of how fondly Ffion seems to be looking at Jonas, and he is especially suspicious when she laughs at Jonas's joke. One woman at the dinner says that she had her grain violently removed, and many at the table agree that it is lucky her vision was spared. She says she would rather live grain-free. Doesn't that kind of remind you of like the trucker from the Nosedive episode?
It does. There's always somebody who says, isn't it great to be free of all of this kind of thing? It was good. It was a good part of it. Because they were looking at her strange, weren't they? They were like looking at her like, wow, you actually like not having it?
Yes.
Like, how can you do that,
So then it goes on to say, when Liam and Ffion return home, it transpires that she had a previous relationship with Jonas many years ago. which she had mentioned to Liam but downplayed. She initially said it lasted a week, then says a month, and then admits it was 6 months. These initial lies make, it kind of reminds me of an Am I the Asshole that you talked about one time on your stream. These initial lies make Liam even more paranoid, and he insists on replaying footage from the evening and demanding explanations for why Ffion said and did the things she did. She becomes increasingly uncomfortable with his relentless questioning, and conversation turns into a row. And I don't really, that was a weird phrase. It must be
a row. Yeah, no, a row, like a fight. Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard it said that way.
Yeah. Oh, it's calm.
Liam apologizes and they have sex, but they are both watching redos of more passionate sex from earlier in their relationship. Hey, at least it was of themselves. But
I think we'll wait for the commentary, but yeah, I have opinions about that.
After they finish, Liam, he goes back downstairs and rewatches redos of Jonas's frank conversations from the dinner party whilst drinking excessively. He continues this all night. And the next morning, argues with Ffion about her laughing at Jonas's joke. She goes back to bed, and he drunkenly drives to Jonas's house. When he confronts him about his relationship with Ffion and threatens to cut Jonas's grain out of his neck if he doesn't delete all the footage of her stored on it. Jonas complies, and Liam drives away, crashing his car into a tree and passes out. When he wakes up, he replays his latest memories with increasing horror and walks home to confront Ffion. As Jonas projected his footage of her onto the wall before deleting it, Liam noticed that there was a file proving Jonas and Ffion had sex 18 months ago, around the time their daughter Jodie was conceived. Ffion admits to cheating on Liam, saying that it was when Liam had temporarily walked out after, how did you say it? A row? Because it was a row. But insists that she and Jonas did use a condom and that Liam is the baby's father. Thank you, Maury. Liam demands that she replay the redo of it to prove it. The video heavily implies Ffion and Jonas did not use a condom. In the closing scenes, Liam is seen wandering around his now empty house playing redos of Happy Memories with Ffion and his daughter playing before going into the bathroom and messily cutting his grain out from behind his ear with a razor and cuticle clippers, and then the screen goes black, as on brand for Black Mirror.
Yeah. There was so much in this episode. It's like a lot of the reviews. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
A lot of the reviews were focusing on the paranoia, and that was not where I actually focused. Obviously, he was obsessed with finding out the truth or whatever.
Right.
And one of the things that struck me the most was it brought couples fighting or any kind of disagreement to a whole new level when you can just push a button and play back like exactly what somebody said over and over, and you can like take an obsession or something you're worried about and just like beat yourself to death with it like over and over and over and over again, the exact words and everything like that. Because that was the thing, is like he could play his wife's exact words and challenge her on every little thing. It's like there's no privacy, it's got to be hard to live under that. Not that she was right.
Boundary with other people or within themselves, right? Kind of like you're saying, there's no privacy. Accountable from stopping themselves from doing something that's unhealthy, like an unhealthy obsession over how someone answered something or looked
that was one of the things that I found so striking in talking with someone else about the episode today. We're both struck by that ethical dilemma of the lack of privacy for everybody else who's involved in your memories. Because here it is, it's one thing, as it was brought to my attention, when you're thinking of your memories yourself, they belong to you, but you're playing them for other people and be able to like shoot them in other people's faces. That's a whole nother thing. Now you're involving everybody else who's involved. So they don't have any privacy. All the third parties that are involved in your life have no privacy anymore either. And
they can share it kind of like he did with a memory that was not his at all, now became a memory for him when he I want to say like took a photo, but looked
No,
at
when he looked at the other man's
Yeah.
memories on the
Yeah.
screen, they all became his because now they're in his system too. And they're in his grain, because he
Right.
saw it. And the weird thing, like at the airport where you have to play back a whole day to clear yourself as a terrorist, and like they're going through your whole life and everything that you did. I mean, like they know if you got clean underwear on and what you ate for breakfast and who you talked to. And like it was like
so
no
many
privacy
things of me, like,
whatsoever.
oh my gosh, how many times does this chick fart a day? Like, how much crap does she eat? That would be
Exactly.
me for sure.
It was, and they were good. There were fascinating things too, like the playing for the babysitter. Like, if you left your child with someone, you could just fast forward for everything, and you could see everything that happened to that child while you were gone because you're playing the child's brain.
Good that could come out of it, and that leads me to my first question. I have some questions for Claire tonight. I'm going to put her
on hot seat. I like the hot seat. I like it hot.
A two-part question, I guess.
All right.
So my first question is, would you want to have access to all your memories? Second is there any good that could come out of this being a possibility? Or what are some negative things that could come out of being able to access every single memory that someone has?
Oh, you said hot seat. You didn't say burn in the hires or psychological hell. Okay, wait. So first one was, would I want access to all my memories?
Yes.
I would, as a person personally, because I suffer from a lot of memory lapse from multiple anesthesias and for whatever reasons, medications. I have things I don't remember, and it frustrates me.
Yeah.
Like, you might remember your kindergartner teacher and some of your students or going through grade school, and I will constantly not be able to pull that stuff up. And it frustrates me, like large chunks, like just missing.
Yeah.
So yeah, for personal reasons, yes. Is it a good idea? Basically, I would say if they were going to be kept to me, I would say yes. I would love to have, I would even pay for it. I would say I would pay for it. Yeah. I would say, go ahead. Go. You can give me another
memories.
If they were my private memories and they were for me, yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I would, yes. But this way, to have a chip that would play on the walls, I think that's dangerous. I saw the horror of it when you become obsessed with something and how much damage it could do. He became obsessed with everything that people said about him or when he thought something was wrong, and he would play it over and over again. And it's like, how much do you really want to know? Like, you need the off switch. Like, it's protection for yourself to just walk away or not know sometimes, because what he was afraid of, it may have happened, but it did happen 18 months ago. It wasn't like it was still happening. Even though she might have a thing for him, she did obviously still want to be with him. They were still together. But once he pursued it to the point, when he pursued it to the point where there was no return back, when you know everything, like you have that visual in your head of what your spouse did or the betrayal.
Yeah,
that is almost impossible to overcome. You're going to play it in your head forever. It's bad enough you think it happened or they told you it happened, but if you see it happen, I mean, that's a whole nother level of psychological
play it
abuse.
over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. So no, I don't see the good of it if you have access to share it with other people. If you want to replay what your wife said last week and use it, or your husband, and use it as an argument so you can win, but it's fair when it's only your memory and you're just recanting it to them. But to shoving it in their face like video and audio every other second.
Like maybe if we could decide who we could allow access to our memories. Like, heck yeah, would I use that to
like if you wanted to share, if it was like, maybe there should be
did say this, okay.
Yeah, but if it's between the two parties, I can understand it. But if it involves other people, then to me, there's a line there about violating other people's privacy. Yes, you were involved in the situation with them, and so were they. But that shared memory, who does it belong to? Everybody? And
All
who does
right.
privacy belong to? Everybody. So like, sharing it the way they were became uncomfortable for me because it became a party game. It became embarrassing. It was up for grabs on people making fun of it. And their personal things, maybe they don't need to be out there. They were using it so casually, it was uncomfortable for me, honestly. So I
I'm
saw the
glad
bad
that
part.
you said all that because I feel like you're walking into your own trap.
Me?
With my next question. Yes.
Oh, God. I do that all the time. But all right. So did I answer all three, or what was the last part of that one? The good.
Yeah,
Oh,
the negative and the
here's the good
positive.
part. The
Yeah.
good part is, would I love to remember my daughter's first smile, exactly how it happened, or her first step, or some of the more wonderful achievements I had, my first kiss, or falling in love, or or even after you've been in a relationship for a long period of time, do you want to like be able to play back and remember that first moment you saw them and what it felt like? I would love
Right.
that. Was so good. I'm a romantic. I can't help it. I'm a sap. What can I
Well,
say?
I think everybody does that too. Once you've been in a relationship long enough, you're like, remember when we first met? And
Yeah, I want to remember that. I want to keep rekindling that, keep that
right.
going. I think that could be a benefit of it. But again, for personal use, because there's a compromise they're making for the safety of the country by scanning everybody at the airport and stuff like that. And
True.
it's a violation of privacy, of total privacy. Like nobody has it. And I don't know if it's worth it. I
So
want
we
everybody to
kind
be
of
safe.
talked about how someone could potentially become obsessed with um,
Mm-hmm.
delving back into the mannerisms. How did someone say this? They said it this way. They turned their head this way. They wore this color. They did this. They looked this way. So, even though we don't have grains implanted in us, do you see any similarities in the use of the grain and how social media works today?
Yes, because it is social media, because the internet never forgets. It's all there. And
Right?
it's the same thing, and it's out there. And the way people are using it, they can weaponize it just like they were weaponizing the grain memories against other people. You're weaponizing that memory to use it against somebody. You can do that with social media, obviously. So there's I see a parallel. Yeah, I see some
And
similarity. Not
people
exactly.
maybe, I feel, again, you and I talked about this before with last week, how we talked about nosedive, how it's different being YouTube creators now, kind of almost seeing it through that lens. And hey,
Mm-hmm.
seeing it through this lens is kind of ironic for this episode. But
Mm-hmm.
I saw with all the any community you can be on and in online,
Mm-hmm.
when there's a kerfuffle, if you will, and people going back and picking apart how someone said something,
Right.
what they were wearing the certain day, if that meant something, if
Mm-hmm.
their apology was sincere enough, if they were crying real tears or fake tears. I just saw this so much differently. I'm like, I don't think we need a piece of grain. I think we're kind of already
We're
there.
already obsessed. We are obsessed with what we see and what we know. And we're obsessed with gathering more information and going back and looking and seeing if the context, or seeing if with
Right.
the additional
I'm guilty
information
of
has
it. I'm
changed.
not trying to
Yeah.
put myself on a pedestal. I'm absolutely
Mhm.
guilty of it.
Yeah. Always made a great comment in here. Can I read it to you?
Absolutely.
My thought was, if our family, friends, or coworkers had access to our memories or thoughts, what would they think of us? And this is true. Like, if they knew exactly what we were thinking when something happened, like, that's the other thing. Here's the memory. You have it one way, what you were thinking and what you were doing, and they
Right.
may be seeing something else. They may have thought you were happy, and you're in your head going, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
Exactly.
And yet if they get the full memory, they know what you were thinking. They know where you're actually coming from, and it can change everything. And like I said, no privacy is a very uncomfortable thing to think about for me. No privacy. It's like I understand the world needs to be viewed in a certain way so that everybody is safe. Part of the conversation I had today was about in the another country in the UK where they use CCTV on the outside of everybody's house, all the public places. There's CC cameras everywhere to keep everybody, accountable, and so the police can investigate, and so that we can see what's going on. But inside their private homes, it's all private. Like they draw the line. You know what I mean? Like the cameras aren't in there.
Right. So there is a line.
So it's still uncomfortable for a lot of people. I mean, you think about the situation. Everywhere you walk, every store you went to, there's a picture of you. Whatever you looked like that time, that day, what you were thinking, the scowl on your face, you're not smiling, you're mad at somebody. It's all captured. You got to kind of get numb to it, because like not being used to it, I would be uncomfortable at first. But it's the compromise to do what they need to do to keep people safe. And they draw the line at the personal privacy. You know what I mean? No, but this device doesn't do that. This device was like out there for everybody.
No.
And what about the gouging, the stealing of people's memories to sell on the black market? Like it's a whole nother thing. Like force you to the ground and cut it out of you and sell your life to somebody for what purpose? For sexual gratification, for just voyeurism.
Think about how people are obsessed with celebrities, and we can sometimes want to be more privy to their private life than maybe is healthy. I could see that totally in regards to this episode. I mean, think about, again, what's going on with Britney Spears right now, or just her life in general. She's always tried to keep it pretty private. And I can see a pretty penny being on the price of her grain and wanting to see what really goes on in her life.
Right. I would imagine that celebrities were more at risk of having that grain, ripped out of them. They need more security. Imagine the stalkerism, the stalkers and the level that they would go to. It's a little scary. Yeah.
Right.
This episode was even more upsetting than the other one. I thought Nosedive, did a number on me as far as the internet. But this one, even though they didn't talk about the internet at all, or social media, this one really, like you said, I kind of walked into it because this one really kind of correlated a little more for me on a personal level about that.
Yeah, I agree. I saw it differently, and again, it kind of not only made me think of how I see other people's behavior online, but myself too. Like how just because I have access to it doesn't mean I should watch it, because there's a mental health boundary there. Like, let's not become obsessed.
Here's the thing. That hit home to me, what you just said, like the mental health part of it, and just because you can, maybe you shouldn't. That hit home to me in the marital sex scene, because just because you obviously neither one of them really were there. It's clear as day. They were off somewhere else. Right. And the action was happening. She's like, just rolled over, lad, do whatever you got to do, because like I'm somewhere else. And so he does it. And they're both thinking something else, that they're not there. They're not engaged. And the damage that does to the next time you want to have relations with each other. Like, it's like you're setting a precedent to like, it's okay not to be there and participate in this part of our marriage. So it's like, and that just... I had issues. I thought that it just totally went against everything I think about being in a relationship and participating. And I would have, if you're not into it, I'll be blunt. You hand your husband the lotion. You say, okay, tomorrow, honey, I'm just not, I know you got to do what you got to do, but you're going to do it elsewhere. Like, cause I'm just not going to be, a vessel. Like, I'm not a vessel, and I wouldn't expect him either. I'm not going to say, oh, you got to, I feel like it, so you better just like, do it. I don't care if you want to or not, just do it.
Right.
It just, that's not it, for me. I mean, that's my personal view on it. So it disturbed me. I was upset. It bothered me so much at first, but it kind of disturbed me. And then I realized that they were both doing it. Because in the beginning, I didn't realize she was also
right. And I think always
somebody else
kind of pointed something out. I think I said earlier, well, at least they were both rewatching memories of themselves together.
Yeah,
and always grateful said, I can't find it now, but
no, but they were both, they were both doing it. She was thinking of the old boyfriend, it looked like, because she was real happy about it.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, not so sure her sex redo was of her hubs. And I thought it was. I thought he was thinking of his wife, or I say thinking, but
he was remembering
right?
better sex. He was remembering when she was fully engaged. So like that was my point. Like, she's not fully engaged. So why aren't you off in the bathroom or somewhere doing it yourself? Because she's not there. So you're actually trying to find a memory when she was.
Is that really consent? Because she's there, he's not.
Yeah, it wasn't consent for either one of them, actually, in my opinion, because he's like, I don't know. It was just wrong. And it kind of set them up. It showed the disconnect in their relationship, among other things. Like where they don't even sit near each other. They don't sit across from each other at a dinner table. They were like on an angle that he was like 2 seats over, and it didn't sit anywhere near each other in the living room. And he just got home from a business trip. It's not like they drove there together. And
you would think they would be missing each other and, hey, you're here, and sit next to each other. And did you notice the things that he noticed, the little shots were coming in? And
not at first. I thought she actually turned and greeted him well. Like, I didn't think anything was going on. The way she greeted him was well, but then to see her off to the side later, sad looking and not very engaged, that I didn't catch that, and he was playing that back. I didn't see that. It seemed like she was trying, like she knew there were problems in the relationship. Obviously she was hiding something. I'm not sticking up for her. I know she was lying. She did something bad. But the more that came out, like when she says, yeah, well, it was during when we had that 5-day problem, when you had your 5-day problem. Okay. So 5 days he had a mental thing, and they were on a break because he was like overwhelmed or whatever. He had some kind of mental thing he needed to work out. It was 5 days. And when he said, oh yeah, so what? You wait till day 4? That's too much. So you go, you go find somebody. And I'm like, that was so cutting. I'm like, 5 days. Like, I would never have a relationship if every time there was something that came up, and if it was more than 5 days, you just had to go find somebody else. It would be an ever-ending merry-go-round. Like, I would be like, next.
Exactly.
It just like, I was like, I got his point. Like 5 days, like 5 days, like what?
Like 5 minutes,
I know. It was like, obviously she was more hung up on this guy. He must have hurt her, because he seems like a very the guy we're talking about, Jonas. Yeah, Liam's right. He was a
douche canoe. When you're listening to this again, you're welcome.
Yeah, he was a wanker. He was an arsehole. He was obviously full of himself. He didn't really care about his partners or anything like that. He was a little obsessed with this one because she wouldn't leave her husband. Okay, let's just face that. Like, he just wanted to win.
Really arrogant, sitting there talking about how I like to rewatch memories of old partners, like right in front of the husband. Like, screw you, man. I mean, how much of a dick can you be? That was pretty arrogant of him, to say the least. But I want to point something out. I've also lured you into another trap.
Oh, God.
At first, right, the husband is kind of questioning whether these little, you're sitting really close to him, you're laughing at a joke that obviously wasn't funny, and he got really hung up on that. Now, I'm going to bring us back to a time where I was on your channel on an Am I the Asshole? Mm-hmm. And we were discussing a person who had a girlfriend that had a close guy friend, and said that they were just a little uncomfortable with how close they seemed to be. Mm-hmm. I remember us kind of have differing opinions, and I was saying, well, sometimes there's like subtle things. I don't know. You can tell if someone's in someone's personal space a little more than someone would if you weren't intimate with them before and everything. This made me think of this. Like,
was it that the young girl and the younger girl and the older guy, and it was a group of friends, and the one friend was saying, obviously they would never ever cheat on each other, any of them, and he's just paranoid. And like you were thinking, well, sometimes you just get an inkling, like something's going on, and you were like, yeah, and you know, it's true. And Liam had that inkling. He did, and he was spot on, and because it was all true. But here's the thing: do you really want to know that much? And I'm not saying she shouldn't have told him. She should have. And she should have been honest with them.
And again, if I think most people here know Claire, but just in case you're here and don't know her or listening again, she has these really awesome fun things on her channel where she reads and has a guest on. She reads Am I the Asshole from Reddit, and you kind of describe like, hey, do you think this person posting is an asshole or not? So that's kind of what we are referring to.
Right. We do it funny, but it's always got some kind of issue. It's also thought-provoking. It's about relationships. It's almost always about relationships, and you know, and how people conduct themselves, which some can be really, really funny, and almost always leads to somebody being an asshole. So,
but this episode reminded me of one of them. I think I was just listening. I don't think this was one that I was a guest on, but of telling a partner at some point in the relationship, there's an appropriate time to tell them, hey, this person that you know and I know, we had a fling or a relationship at one point, or, you know, I feel like this whole Black Mirror episode in terms of the main character's relationship could have all been avoided if she would have just told him, like, hey, you know, when we first started dating, I told you this guy was just a weak fling or whatever, but it's actually more than that. And I just figured I'd go ahead and tell you now before we got too serious, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. They did talk about it, and she'd been covering all along. Like, she didn't want to, they did address it. Yeah.
And she said something that I found interesting. I wrote it down. Let me see if I can find it. It's in regards to her lying and them, especially in the very end of the episode when they're kind of really getting to the nitty gritty, and he's holding her to it like, no, you're lying. No, is it this? No, did you wear a condom? No, is it this? And she says, not everything that isn't true is a lie.
And did you see his face?
Yeah.
Did you see his face? Because I'm like, what did you just say? Like,
right.
Okay, so not everything that isn't
true is a lie.
Is a lie. All right. So
that made me think, like, I know in the literal sense, like, that's the stupidest thing. Like, that's literally what a lie
You're going to have to, all right, now I'm putting you on the hot seat, because you're going to have to give me an example. Someone has to give me a clear example of when something that isn't true isn't a lie. And I'm not talking about, you know, space, context, and this and that. Don't come at me with scientific theory, anybody. I mean, in the context of this conversation, two people talking together and somebody misspoke. I mean, I understand misspoke. Like, if I say blue and I meant red and then I retract it later, I didn't lie to you. I misspoke. I get that part. But that's not how she's using it in the way I looked at it. Correct. That's not what she's saying. She's not saying, oh, I misspoke. I said a week. I really meant a year and a half, and I loved every second of it. Right. But, you know, she that's not the context of what she's using it in. So somebody needs to explain that to me, because, yeah, it made me think, but not in a good way. It made me like, what? And what the hell are you talking about? Like, I don't understand what you mean by that, because that's just wrong. A lie is a lie.
It literally doesn't make sense. However, it did make me think, okay, maybe like, okay, so I grew up in a household where everything was black and white. A lie is a lie. You don't lie. You always tell the truth. Blah, 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 blah. So as I've gotten older, I've learned that there are times, in fact, quite frankly, and just to expose more of myself, my therapist one time told me, like, as an adult, she's like, JC, sometimes it's okay to lie. And I'm like, huh? it is. And she's like, when it comes to safety and things like that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it probably sounds bizarre, but that's the first time in my life I had ever heard something like that. And this, John's going to put us on a whirl. I'll read his comment in a second. But
no, I read it. I read it. I already answered him. I'm like,
it just made me think, although in the instance of her, no, I do not believe she was even being honest in the context in which she was using this phrase or sentence, but is lying by omission, or when you're doing it to protect yourself from someone or to protect someone from yourself?
If you're trying not to intentionally hurt somebody, because it would, that's a fine line. I wrestle with this. I get what you're saying. So let's just instead of thinking of all the scenarios, let's just think of this one between Liam and Ffion. Okay.
Yeah.
So Ffion said it was a week. Okay. It's the purpose of why she said it's a week that makes it a lie or an omission. Okay.
Right.
It is not an omission if she knows it was 8 months and says it was only a week because she does not want to give this person she's interested in the information. That's not that's a lie. Okay. Because she knows the truth. At that point, it's the beginning of their relationship. It's not going to hurt him to know whether it's a week or 8 months, or she's doing it on purpose to protect herself. Now, some people will say when you're protecting yourself, then it's an omission. No, when you're protecting yourself, it's a purposeful deed to lie, to protect. Some people lie to protect themselves, and we've all may have been in that situation, that you have done it, but it's still a lie. You are purposely not telling the truth, and that's the definition of a lie. On purpose, not telling the truth. So whatever the reason being. So if I'm saying it to protect myself, it's a lie. If I'm saying it to protect you,
yes,
it could be considered an omission depending on the scenario. I tend to think, a little harder about it, and I get caught in it all the time. I may forget to say something, it's an omission, or I misspeak or whatever, and somebody will say, but that's not what you said, you lied. And I'm like, okay, if you want to technically say that's a lie, fine, but I know my intent, you know, and I look at it more like intent, the difference between omission
that makes sense. I feel like I agree with you there. I feel like that it's the intention.
Yeah. So that's what, John was saying, that he says if a person stating it thinks it's true, it's not a lie. And I don't technically agree with that. I'm sure the person saying it that thinks it's true and it's still a lie would like to believe that. But I think that when you're saying it to somebody else, it's a lie to them. Okay. So to whoever you're saying it to, it's a lie to them. You know what I mean? It's like, I believe it's a lie when the person stating it knows it's not true. Otherwise, it's just an untrue statement, but not a lie. Now, that part makes sense. That clarification, I'm with you, John. That makes sense a little bit to me when you say if they don't technically. No. It's because they don't know it's the truth. Ffion knew it was a lie she was telling. She knew. I mean, obviously, she knows how long she slept with that man.
And had multiple chances
to tell him. So that's not what happened here. That's not omission. That's not protecting anybody. That was a straight out lie. What John is saying is that if the person telling the lie doesn't know it's a lie, in other words, you don't remember, or you think this is how it happened, but then you find out later something else, But that 1 week to 8 month thing, that don't qualify here. That's not this scenario at all. But I do agree with what you say, John. Thanks for the clarification, because now I could see what you're meaning. Not just that they think it's true, like they want to believe it's true, but actually they don't have enough information.
Yeah, it's just an untrue statement that they're not.
Right. That's what clinches it for me. There's a difference between an untrue statement. So if Ffion had said it that way, I might back her up, but it still does not apply to her situation in my eyes.
Not at all.
Yeah, not in my eyes.
I thought it was just a thought-provoking statement nonetheless, even separate from their characters and what she was doing. or lying about. I just thought it just made me think. I'm like, is everything untrue a lie? It just, I mean, literally, yes, but also, I don't know. And Always Grateful was kind of talking about what you were mentioning, like to protect someone's feelings. They say, what about the white lies to protect another person's feelings, such as telling them that an outfit looks great when you are actually thinking, what the world?
Sometimes omitting your actual personal opinion about something is not necessarily a lie. I agree with that.
Yes, I think that's where I'm going on, because I feel like there's still a way to be truthful to that person. Like,
and doesn't
me personally, if I'm asking someone, I want you to tell them the truth. Do I look like a dumbass or not? But if you know it's someone that you kind of, if you're going to be too direct for them and it's going to really affect them, like there's a way to be like, you look radiant, or you look, that's not really a lie. You're not lying. They look like they feel really good about themselves in that outfit.
And that comes down to intent.
But is that a lie?
No, because it comes down to intent. Are you trying to lie to them or hide the truth? You're omitting all of the truth, but you're skirting around it a little bit, and you're saying something. You're not actually saying that. You're not telling them they look fantastic, right?
Right.
Right. There's a way to say it. Like, what was this? Protecting others, such as telling them that outfit looks great when you are actually thinking, what the fuck? Yeah. If I think what the fuck, and then I'll say like nice shoes, maybe the shoes are okay. Like maybe you can think of just something that you're not too appalled about. You don't have to tell them about all the what the fucks you're thinking in your head. Just find the one thing that's not so bad and talk about that. That is like lying by omission. That is like white lie. Like they coin that white lies. I'm still uncomfortable with it, but sometimes when you're that honest and you're hurting people's feelings, you're just an asshole. Like, sometimes honesty, being an honest person and being, and coming off as the asshole, like you don't want to. I don't really like to hurt people's feelings unnecessarily. And if they want to think I'm being like two-faced or lying about it, that's, on them. I'm just not discussing it with them. Okay. So if they ask me, they look great, and I'm just going to go, whatever. Or even say, I wouldn't wear it, but it looks great on you. Or I wouldn't wear it, but you look fine.
Right.
First of all, I don't even ask people those kind of questions. I don't ask people those kind of questions anymore. Because
you don't ask them how they look or how you look.
No. Yeah, because I don't want to get into those conversations. Like, when you put something on that you feel good wearing, you chose it, right? And you got yourself dressed up and you chose what you're wearing and you feel pretty good about it. Why are you going out there and asking everybody just to chip away at you about it? Like, why do you need other people to tell you what you picked for yourself that you felt good about is good enough? Like,
yeah, that is true. Like, why are you putting me in this uncomfortable position to potentially hurt your feelings? Like, I don't want to.
It is true. And also, do I actually care if you don't like my outfit? Like, that's what it really comes down. And I don't want to sound like a jerk, although I probably do right now. But really, if I chose it and I like it and I'm wearing it, I'm just not going to go through those social graces. Like, oh, you like my outfit? No, because like, it don't matter to me. You like it or you don't. I'm wearing it anyway. I'm this or naked. Take your choice. Like, you're going to talk to me, you don't like it, then it's all coming off and I'm naked. What do you want?
And when you're an avatar, you don't have to even worry about asking.
Yeah, people. we don't even have to discuss it, right? Yep. And
sometimes we'll give a warning when asked for my opinion. Do you want me to be nice or truthful? They should tell them that should tell them it won't be good. So if they say truthful, well, they ask for it.
That comes up a lot in AITA, and I remember learning a little lesson about that. Like when they say, do you want me to say the nice or the truthful? And I said in the AITA, well, they asked for the truth, so they should have got the truth no matter what.
Yeah.
And I was corrected because it was about a bride in her wedding dress that she had obviously couldn't return it anymore, and she loved the way it looked. And so the groom, even though he didn't like it, he told her she was beautiful. And I was turned my opinion around because they actually did the right thing. There was nothing she could do about it. Why would he tell her that he didn't like it
Right.
when
Why make
and
a
make and ruin her wedding?
for-
Like, they had a valid point. They said the wedding was about her. She was obviously so happy. It didn't matter that much to me. Why would you break her heart? You know,
Yeah.
why would you do that to her? So on that case, like, I turned myself around. I'm like, well, she was asking honesty, and this is what they are, a couple, and they should be honest to each other all the time. And it's like, why? What was the what would have been productive about that honesty? Really, what would that have served? And I was like, whoa, now there's a statement. Like, yeah, you're right. You're not really putting the other person first. It didn't matter that much to me.
This is not the exact same thing, but it reminds me of the phrase, like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to remember it now. I don't know, even regards to marriage or friendship or whatever. It's like, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? It's kind of like
exactly
that.
Like that. Yeah.
Like, what is the outcome you're going for in this situation? Mm-hmm. But I can tell you, if that same situation happened in this episode, then she could rewind and make him play the memory and be like, look, you didn't really mean that I looked beautiful in my dress. You jerk.
Right.
Let's put it on the screen for everybody to see.
Yeah, but he wouldn't. No, because he didn't give that to her, so she didn't have that memory. He told her she looked beautiful, you know? So.
Yeah. I've got another question for you. Would you, I think I feel like I know how you're going to answer it.
Dude, okay.
But was Liam going to Jonas's house to kind of confront him? Oh, no. That's not the part. When... I didn't remember this the first time.
I want to talk about that part, though. I got something to say about that. But go ahead, ask me.
When they were going home for the night, and she was like, well, why'd you invite Jonas back to our house if you didn't really like him or whatever? I freaking forgot that even happened when I watched it the first time. And I'm like, who the heck would invite a person over that you think is having an affair with your significant other? You do that?
It was so passive aggressive. It was like, let me make my wife uncomfortable by bringing her lover here and watch her squirm. Or it was like, let me see what he's going to do, if he's going to expose himself. Or it was like self-deprecating, he was torturing himself. I don't know. But all three scenarios are pretty fucked up. And no, I would not do it. Like, no, I wouldn't. There's no way.
Right?
Yeah, it was. And then he was like laughing. No, I didn't want him there. You wanted him there. Because the way she laughed, something about the way she laughed bothered him. Maybe he hasn't heard her laugh in a while, or he was remembering how she used to laugh like that for him.
Jealousy definitely struck up.
Yeah, jealousy is a big part here. He was paranoid and jealous. And I'm not saying he didn't have a right to, because he was right. But, you know, how much do you really want to know? How much are you going to hurt yourself with it? How much are you going to bring it to a head? You know what I mean? Because this guy wasn't going to be hanging around forever. Wasn't he leaving? Like, he wasn't really going to be there forever. Like, he could have been gone in a day or two. And
Jonas?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, obviously he comes back around.
Well, he did 18 months ago. I don't know. Like, you know, well, we don't know, because there's like speculation about that. You know, that someone told me they read something in an article about that too, but we'll get to that one next. But what do you think about Liam going to Jonas's house and doing what he did? How did you react to that?
I mean, again, I feel like there are some of these where it's like, yeah, would the thought come across my head to be like, no, I don't want to wait. I'm going to find out right now for myself. The opportunity is here. Let's go have a talk. Do I think he should have? No, it kind of goes back to just because I have access to it doesn't mean I should necessarily do it. And I think that comes with some emotional maturity. I don't have a lot of that, but I do have some. So I would hope in that situation, I'd be like, come on, dude, this is just, there's nothing good that can come out of this. And I feel like when you live long enough, you kind of figure out that the truth will eventually present itself. You may want to know something right now, but I think he would have figured out the truth eventually without going to this person's house. It just, you have to be patient, and that's the part that sucks. And I'm impatient.
Yeah, he was acting a little bit
crazy.
Not only was he, you know what, he was really possessive. And here's the thing. At that point, he doesn't know they slept again additionally, because he doesn't find that out until he gets there. And it's his own actions that expose him to that point. Okay. And that's the point I want to make too. He's actually bringing forward everything he fears right in his face. He's making it all happen with this paranoia, with this obsession that he's got to know everything. Like, how much do you really
happen, though? He didn't make them.
No, he makes himself finding out and bringing it all to a head. Let me tell you. He didn't make her sleep with him. No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm saying he has the fear that they're having this affair and it might still be going on because she's lying about the past. Okay. He knows she's lying about the past. Yeah. He knows nothing about what's going on since, he just has an inkling that maybe she's not over the past. Okay. And she might be feeling a certain way about this person, but she doesn't know anything yet until he gets a possessive attitude that no one's going to be thinking about screwing my wife because that's my wife, know. But here's the fact, dude, he was the boyfriend first. Like, he is entitled to that memory. I get it. You don't want to think that he's playing it and jerking off like he said he was at the dinner table. He told everybody. And now you know that your wife is part of those memories. You know, the wife is part of the memories now, and he's like getting really obsessed. He's treating her like chattel a little bit.
Eat away at him, and at some point, you cannot control what other people think, do, react, interact with you. You can control what you do about it. But does it suck that dude's thinking rewatching memories with his wife?
True, but he doesn't own his wife's past. I mean, that was offensive to me. Like, like she's chattel, a possession, whatever, and he owns everything about it, her past, everything. Nobody knew, but he was acting a little making it worse for himself in that position. And then, drinking and getting there. And then I really thought he was going to cut the thing out. I mean, at first, when he went the bottle, I thought he was going to cut the grain out. But instead, he wants him to erase it. And that's when he sees the picture from 18 months ago in his own bedroom. He knows the painting on the wall. And, he's got to live without, because he found out more.
Ignorance have been bliss in that situation. If he had confronted, he would have never known. I'm just assuming that it turned out not to be his daughter from the way that the episode ended. I don't really know. But if he had never gone that far and figured it out that they were recently together, he may not have his wife anymore, but he could have had his daughter still. I think it was a girl. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was a girl too. But yeah, that's true. And at that point, like, if he didn't find that out, okay, I'm not advocating for ignorance is bliss. I'm advocating for a productive way to find out the information, the two of them talking privately and working through it, and not have it be this traumatic and him forcing to see the visuals and not because there's no coming back from that. If she would have been the one to tell him the truth and how it happened and what had happened, and if she had went to him, it would be totally different scenario. There may have been some possibility to work it through. If they still wanted to be together, if that was still a possibility, because I don't know if it was, because they looked pretty estranged to me as you're watching the flashbacks. They're not connecting at all. So I'm not sure, but ignorance, not bliss, but how you get the knowledge can really, really affect how you go forward with working on the relationship afterwards. Because,
like a point of no return, you know what I mean? You have a fight sometimes and use words that just cut too far and too deep. So maybe similarly, the way that you find something out, if you're like aggressive and possessive about how you find out the truth, maybe there was a chance to repair the relationship, but you've kind of blown all that from how he
Mm.
went about it. So,
But when he forced her to show him the memory,
yeah.
and you watch her break on the bed, she's just like totally broken. She knows it's like God. They're not coming back from it after that. She's
Right.
totally broken, and he has forced her to show. And now he's watching, and he can't take his eyes away, and he's never gonna forget that visual. It's one thing to know your partner's been unfaithful. I mean, it's like your heart is ripped out. But to see it over and over again in your mind, like there's no coming back from it. I don't think personally there's any coming back from that in the
No.
relationship. Every time that person does something wrong, that's what you're gonna bring up. Like that's it. It's
Right.
the worst thing in the world. You know, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying it's not possible for me, as far as I know right now. You know, but where
Not
I am right
especially in the
now.
way that he not acting like that. No. And
No.
you know, before he approached the situation like that, you were almost kind of rooting for him, but then it was like, yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, you're not really in your right mind there, buddy. You could have controlled yourself.
And you know, rightly so. He's got a lot going on. Like people aren't being honest with him. You know, he's having some trouble.
There's a lot of
He obviously,
gaslighting going on for sure.
yeah, and a lot of doubts. And he was playing back the interview that he had over and over and obsessing over one word the person
Right.
said, trying to figure everything out. And like he was obviously, that's the other risk of having a device like this. Was he not
Mhm.
spending more time in the past than he was and actually living the moment he was in? Like
Absolutely.
that was a reoccurring thing. Like every time you see him, he's like playing stuff back and he's going back instead of like where he is and what he's doing. Like, you know, he was not even fitting in at the party because he's too busy about, you know, playing stuff back and, you know,
Right.
not really engaging with people. He looked very separate from everybody, like
Very
disassociated.
disconnected. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
that's
John
an,
saying too, in regards to relationships, when the trust is broken, the relationship is over. Even if you try to work through it, seems like there will always be a sliver of doubt going forward. And I agree. That's
I
like, I think the worst part about cheating, of course, the cheating is horrible. But if you add on to that, making someone doubt themselves, that they don't see what they see, they're not getting the gut feeling that they are, I think that's the cruelest part, is when your partner trusts you so much, is a person you bounce ideas off of, and you just kind of have that security with, and then they allow you to doubt yourself and there's a mistrust there. I think that's almost worse than the cheating itself. Like,
because you're
make
not sure you saw what you saw, like, or you believe what
right.
you believe. Especially if you get blindsided by it, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I am not one to forgive for something like that. Trust is a really, really big thing for me. But I'm talking about like faithfulness trust. I'm not talking about like, oh, you said you were going to do this and then you didn't. You know, like that.
Yeah,
You
no,
can
I
get
would have
over
been
that.
divorced a
Like
long time
you
ago.
you can try you can like learn from that, and you could say I
Right.
didn't mean to do that, and you may not have purposely meant to leave, like disappoint somebody that way, and you can grow as a couple and work through things like that. But unfaithfulness, like, there's, especially if your partner is there and willing and you're actually a couple and you're communicating, you know, there's no excuse for it in my eyes. There's no reason that it should happen. You know,
No.
I think even if you feel like you fall out of love with someone, you owe them a conversation. You have to have the respect for who you were to that person in their life and who they were in your life, you know,
Right.
and I absolutely think you need to move on away from them before you do anything like that,
Yeah,
because
I know.
but I'm old fashioned. I admit to being old fashioned. I'm monogamous, you know, 100% committed monogamous type person. You know, that's it.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with not being that way. So, but it just like, don't get in a relationship if you're not. And if you feel like you don't want to be in the relationship anymore, get out before you hurt the person further. I don't understand.
Exactly. It's about the communication and the agreement and the relationship. Like honor your commitments, whether it be to be in a polyamorous relationship or, multiples, whatever.
Right,
Honor the commitment that you have,
right.
what that you've made with each other. It's a matter of respect
And
and,
yourself. Like, if you
and
don't want to
yourself.
be in a monogamous relationship, don't. You know what I mean? Like, respect yourself. It's okay. That's okay. Just don't trap yourself in like that. Wow. I didn't mean to say trap. I love my
No,
husband. No.
that's it. You have actually said the word trap a lot tonight. You keep throwing it at me. I was
Freudian
like,
slip.
I know you're just like you're trapping me up. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm stepping in it everywhere here tonight. But yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I like the questions. I like that you made me think. Like made me think. But I definitely don't. I
It
want
made
one
me
of those things, but I
think.
don't. It what?
No, I don't think I would want one. I don't think I would.
Yeah, I want to reverse it. You tell me. Like, what do you want to remember everything? Do you want to have that opportunity?
Not, no, I don't think I do. It seems rather tempting, but it doesn't feel right. It feels like more harm would come from it than good. And I think even more so, more mental harm. So I just, no. It's kind of like that. Do you want to know when you're going to die? Like, sure, there's a lot of benefits to that, but I don't know that it's such a great idea. I mean, some people don't have the choice, right? But I don't know. I think it's one of those, like, you're just messing with something that shouldn't be messed with.
Mm, I don't know. Like I said, if I could keep it personal, I might, because there'd be some really nice things. But
Right.
yeah, I don't think to share them with everybody. That was
Yeah.
a big ethical issue, and it brought all kinds of other things, to mind too. Like when the chip comes out, and who does it belong to, and like where are they storing them? Do they have access to? Like, I would like to know more. Like, did they have access to them by satellite so they could track people's stuff and figure out what they've been doing and
Yeah.
everything? Yeah, because that technology in the airport seemed pretty sophisticated. They were
Right.
able to play back, when they were telling the guy, like, go to here, play the whole thing back.
I
And
know.
and I wonder how employers were using it too. Like, what were you really doing in the bathroom? So
Right.
like,
And again,
mm,
I mean, there's some people are going to be humans, man. Like, what, even nowadays, with being on the internet and employers checking your social media history, you know what? There's probably, as long as it's not harming someone or disrespectful or, racist or homophobic or whatever. Yeah, there's shit that I'm going to say online that I'm probably not going to say it the same way. Like,
mm-hmm,
I'm not going to sit there and talk about duck porn at work. You know what I mean? But I should be able to have the freedom and the right to do it online and then not affect my employment, because I'm not talking about it on the job. I'm talking about it online. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's a strange line there too, that
mm-hmm.
I think can get abused sometimes by companies. But
No, it's just strange how they use it. John, I'm going to read John's comment that he had a boyfriend who asked him once if he'd ever cheat on him. And he said, if I ever were so unhappy in the relationship that cheating was likely, I'd break up first. Not what he wanted to hear, but truthful. And then John said, and that one is the one that ended up cheating on him. Like,
weird. I'm
I'm
sorry that happened.
sorry, John, but I like your attitude because I feel the same way. Like, if I'm getting that unhappy, there's conversations going on. Like, I'm not going to be quiet about it. Like,
Yeah.
if I start to notice, like, first of all, if I start to feel something that somebody else makes me feel happier than the person I'm with, I'm going to say why to myself. Like, I'm going to have a little self-awareness. Like, I'm going to go, why am I happy that this person is complimenting me so much? And I'm going to say, oh, okay, it's because I'm not hearing it from my partner right now. Let me go talk to my partner and say, hey, you know what? I need to hear a little more affirmations. I'm feeling a little,
Right.
Like you're not appreciating me, because obviously it made me feel good when somebody, else was doing it. I didn't like it. It should make me uncomfortable if you're in a committed relationship. It does me. It's happened, and it made me uncomfortable. But, I'm a little mouthy. I just open my mouth and have those uncomfortable conversations.
Right.
But I heal from them quick too. Not everybody's like that. Like I can get into an uncomfortable conversation, have the tough talk, have the tears, cry, feel terrible, and an hour later I'm fine. And it's not that it's not important for me. It's because it's resolved. It's settled. I went through it. Like I can move through it quickly is what I'm saying. It's not that it doesn't matter.
Resolution, that definitely helps to
exactly. So
yeah. And always grateful asks, do I see a situation where this could have a positive impact? Abso-freaking-lutely. Kidnapping, any type of crime.
Right. Safety for children in school now.
Yes.
Special education classes where,
don't get me started on that. Yes. Yes. There's a lot of good, but I think if people would use things without abusing it, something like this would be absolutely wonderful. I'm always scared of how humans, with their intent, myself included, what are we going to do? It's kind of like that Lord of the Rings and the temptation. It's like the ring is precious, you know what I mean? Like
it'll get misused. It's going to be weaponized, and that's it. Like it was here, it was weaponized against people in several instances. They were making fun of people on the screen. You saw that when they first went into the party.
Right.
They were ripping people apart, making it a party game. These were people's personal experiences. That was uncomfortable for me. That's weaponizing it. Weaponizing it against your partner by you said this, you said that, you said that. And those are just minor instances. Imagine if you're using it for spying, for espionage or faking. I want to know, could they like fake the memories in the airport? Like, could a terrorist actually hijack the system?
Right. I'm sure there's like hackers, and just with regular old internet, I'm sure there was some black market stuff going on.
They were selling them. That's when the people were held down. And what if somebody hacked into your brain and was watching your relations at home? I'm just like, that's not cool. And you don't even know.
Insane.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't see. Yeah. I don't know if you. Yeah, that's not good. I don't know. Always, I don't see as much good as you would think. I would hope surveillance on a limited, but personal surveillance about what we all see and do, I don't know.
They bring a positive thing to having family members with different types of dementia. I can see it being beneficial for those due to short-term memory loss. And yeah, I think it could be a wonderful thing if it weren't for evil people.
Right. There it is. And those are good reason. But there's other ways to do it besides a chip in the head that remembers everything. Like if you have dementia, there's devices you can wear. I took care of a relative that had dementia. There are devices that you can wear that I could access to find out where they were, because they like to wander, So you can, with your children, you can put tracking on their phones. Yeah. So there's some form of it now, but not as invasive as this is. Not as like a memory stealing kind of thing.
Right.
But as far as
we're in like private places, we still get to choose what we put out to the world.
Exactly. So the control and the access to everybody else is the biggest issue with the device that they were talking about, that no one had any privacy. No one actually owned the memory anymore, did they? Everybody kind of owned everybody's memories. Nobody had their own privacy anymore. And that was a little unsettling.
Very unsettling. So what should we do for next week? We're going to be on Claire's stream, and
I haven't chose the episode yet. I have 3 that I'm looking at, and I'm gonna. Now that you've started asking questions, I'm gonna ask you some good ones.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be washing my hair next week.
No, I could tell you right now. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, same bat channel. Not same bat channel. My bat channel. Same bat time.
How many animals are you?
I'm all the animals.
Yeah,
there it is. I'm just an animal, JC. I'm just an animal. That's it. It's really Claire. I'm gonna have to change my name. It's Claire S. Animal. That's
animal.
Animal. I'm just an animal. Yeah.
I like what you say, John. It's a good way to wrap it up. Tech itself isn't good or bad. It's just the people who use it.
There you go. The world in a nutshell.
Right?
That's it. That's our world now. It's just like when they tell you Twitter's terrible, but Twitter's what you make it.
I know my experience has been really positive, but I choose to interact with people who aren't super psycho. So I just limit the level of psychoness, and then I'm all good.
Yeah, I like to watch psychoness from a distance.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely peek at it. I just don't.
I am definitely guilty of kicking it once in a while or poking it, but I do like to watch it from a distance.
Claire, do you poke the bear? Is that what you're saying? You like to poke the bear?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I prod the tiger. I poke the bear. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, I do.
Hey, again, I have no pedestal. I am not
you poked the bear. You did it the whole episode. You trying to set me up, so to speak. Using metaphors there. But yeah, but it was fun. I liked it. I like to be challenged.
This was a good stream. Thank you guys for coming. And anytime you have an episode that you'd like us to feature, just let us know.
Yeah. Might not.
Okay?
Yeah, I'll always, John, Nikki, anyone in the chat, if you or Puddley, you were watching them. If you guys know an episode that you are interested in us covering sooner rather than later, let us know. Because there's now. We did 3, so there's 20 more episodes to choose from before we're done with all of them. You're gonna be stuck with us for a while, guys. I want to do them all. Like
I know I've never had people to again, I tried to get my in life real person friends please watch it. It's so good. And everyone's
it's like a Black Mirror exorcism. Like we got to get them out of our whole system. Like we finally met each other and we have to perform an exorcism on each other. We have to do every single episode.
You have all these thoughts from watching the shows. You just have to share it. You just have to get it out.
And now it's on the internet and it's here forever. This is
and our memories are now yours.
Yes, they are. They belong to everybody. No privacy. No filter. No filter.
Sharing our grain with us tonight. Letting us expose our thoughts and memories to you. We appreciate
John, that's so sweet. That's actually one of the nicest things I've ever read. You want to hear this, JC? He said, I still haven't watched the series. I came here to show support for both of you. John, you're just oh my gosh. The rest of Twitter and YouTube is going to be really upset because you're now you're going to be number 1 for JC and I right now. Puddle, Nikki, don't come for us. Don't come for us. But that was the nicest thing I have read in a really long time.
Very kind. See?
Thank you, John, because we think you're pretty good. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, technology, because I wouldn't know John without technology right now. And he's very funny in the chats, and that means a lot to us, John. Thank you, because we think you're pretty awesome. So cool. Thank you. All right, I don't want to cry. End this shit, would you? You let me know. I can't. I don't want to cry on stream. Thank God I'm an avatar. John.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And again, next week, it's on Claire's channel.
Yes. I'll as soon as I figure out what I'm watching, what we're going to do, which will be by the weekend, I will post the stream. It'll be in my coming events on the channel, and I'll put out a Twitter thread like I've been with, everything going on. What do you have anything else coming up on your channel this week, Jesse?
No, not this week, other than no. So Just go into your channel, unless I sporadically put something up. My kids are starting school next week, so
that's busy enough.
Online a lot or not at all.
I hope you found your notebook, because that was pretty lousy. They let you know last minute. And it's like, did you find it?
Yeah. Nope.
Yes.
Sold out everywhere.
Oh God. That's not right.
Sold out everywhere. Yeah. We'll see. Well, good night, everyone. Thank you again for coming. Sarcastic asses are always welcome. I'm a sarcastic ass.
John, we love sarcastic asses and snarky. So I love snark. Sarcastic, snark. That's cool. Yeah, that's what we love about you, John.
That's our people. We've got
our people.
All right, and don't forget to check out Chair. I don't.
I'm a chair. Wait,
I need to end the stream. Tomorrow night stream. It was like I tried to do tomorrow, Claire, and stream
and a chair, and now I'm a tomorrow night chair. Okay, tomorrow I have 2 streams tomorrow actually at 7 o'clock. I have Peter Harrington, Aussie baller from Twitter, who does all the memes on uni and some other things. He's very funny, and I finally got him to come on my channel. I'm very excited.
Awesome.
7 o'clock. And then, of course, we're going to have mayhem. And I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows
anything
what's going to happen.
Even when you try to plan something, we just kind of derail it.
Even when I try to plan it, something goes amok.
But it's always freaking hilarious and a great
It's fun. And you know what? They talk, like I was on a couple of other streams and they're talking about it all the time. Like there's more people watching it than in the chat. Like we're getting exposed.
They might be scared.
No, they're not. Well, I don't know if they're
might be scared to participate in the chat.
I don't know. They might be, but they seem to know an awful lot about what's going on that channel. Like they were telling me about
we allow voyeurs, whatever.
They were talking about the phallic tour of the world, and they were talking about the duck porn. They were talking about everything. I'm like, wow, you guys have been paying attention over there.
I think duck porn is a pretty popular subject. I've learned a lot from it. Not from watching it.
I try to be educational about it. And it seems that YouTube doesn't care about any of the cursing or the nakedness or any of the pretty graphic pictures I show. They don't care about any of that. They really don't. They only care if you try to educate people about a gooey duck. Like they got pissed off.
Ridiculous.
Which is so funny. But
like I'm educating people, YouTube. Come on.
Yeah, like that was the only part that was actually like not perverted. Like
right. It's like that's what bothers you, YouTube. That's what bothers you.
That's what I love about having the channel and just being able to do this stuff. It's so ironic. I mean, the irony of YouTube in general with their rules and what they do. And oh my God.
That could be a whole freaking series itself for sure.
That is. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I can handle another series at this time. I gotta wait till one of them ends, and I think Jamal's ends first.
For a while, you said.
20
more episodes, right?
Yeah, we gotta wait till the one ends in October. The last one you do the last episode actually on the YouTube series, so that's pretty cool. So when that one's over, we'll think about some other the irony of the irony of YouTube series.
Right.
Well, it could be a segment on Mayhem though. Yeah, you could help me with that. That might be.
It could. We can see that.
We could.
What's not. We could do a little experiment.
We could see if it works. It depends. Are you going to do it naked with me? I mean, because
Of course.
Of course.
The avatar.
Right. There we go. All right. I mean.
And on that note.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Claire.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.